Welcome, everybody. It's been a little minute since we had the FuelOrCrutch podcast. I am getting this thing back going today, waiting on a special guest to pull up, but I kept getting alerted that it would not allow me to start more than 10 minutes late. So I just wanted to go ahead and get it started. Hopefully, the guest will be able to come on. He told me he needed a couple more minutes. So I waited, but when I started getting an alert that I had to go live before we just cancel it, I went ahead and just got it started. Anybody got any comments or questions? Please feel free to put it in the chat. I think this will be a good show. The guest is going to be Michael Collins, who is a friend of mine from way back. We were real close, real tight when we were younger. Still cool to this day. Last time I was in Chicago, we got a chance to connect and catch up. It had been a while. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting a chance to chop it up with him and listen to his story and listen to the different things that he's got going on in the community. I know he's trying to do some stuff to come back to Madison to help out. I know he's been doing some things in Chicago and Houston. But yeah, for those that don't know, Mike was a high flyer. Mike was a different animal when it came to jumping. Just for those that don't know or didn't get a chance to see him play, and he was one that, once he left, I wouldn't say that he never came back, but a lot of the younger generation didn't get a chance to see him. But definitely one of those people that you wish you would have saw. I do think that he probably has the greatest Big 8 dunk that I've ever seen. Vander's dunk that he had against Parker on senior night was definitely close. But I told Vander even before that it was close, but I think his was second. So yeah. Oh man, I do want to give a shout out to all of the area folks that are playing sports. Haven't gotten a chance in the last week or so to catch any games. But I also did want to start this podcast off by saying rest in peace to Carrie Booker, as well as Miss Brandy. Madison lost another Southside legend. Probably one of the biggest Southside Raider supporters that I've seen in the last 10 years easily. Probably longer than that. So prayers go out to her family. Prayers go out to the Booker family. Starting this year off didn't go as according to plan for a lot of people. I'm sure. Definitely didn't go according for me. Been down sick, on the mend. I'm definitely tired of being in this damn house. But the show must go on. So I'm going to hopefully Mike is able to jump on in the next couple of minutes, and we can really just get this thing going. If you guys got anything, questions, comments, anything like that, put in the chat. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it right away while we're waiting. Burn, man, I'm doing so much better. Like today, I woke up and really almost felt like myself. So I'm gonna be all right. Anybody else been fighting illnesses over the last couple weeks? Because it feels like COVID, Amarion, Delta variant, all them things been killing or not killing everybody. Sorry, wrong words. Been holding up everybody. And while we're on the subject, happy J5 to all the noobs that's out in the world and the ones that's tuning in and watching. Boy, that wasn't from no damn weather change. You was sick because you just got sick. You was shaking hands with people. Oh man, how about those Packers? Where are all the Bears fans at? Where they at? They've been super quiet lately. What about the Cowboys fans? Where they at? They've been quiet lately too. Oh yeah, loving it. Appreciate you. Don't know the Bears fans wanna step up. No, y'all got something to say. Y'all been quiet. Matter of fact, we're not even gonna talk about the Bears fans. Where the Bulls fans at so they can come on here bragging? Because they definitely not gonna sniff the Eastern Conference Finals. But I love the way they're playing. DeMar DeRozan has been killing it. Zach LaVine's been killing it. Shout out to my mom, spreading love. J5, happy Founders Day, brothers. And without further ado,
is it working?
Yeah, we good. We live.
Huh?
Yeah, it's good. We on there. We live now, brother.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
It's like you low.
Let me see if I can turn it up. Mine up. Check on your end.
Say it again.
Check on your end. Mine up. I can hear you fine.
Hold on. Let me try something.
Fade to black. Yeah, and I'm in my bedroom this time doing the podcast because noisy, bad kids. No, they're not bad, but they noisy. They're out in the living room, so I decided to do it in here today. Mike, can you hear me better now? Can you hear me now, Mike? Can you hear me? I don't think he can hear me. He must got one of them computers or laptops from wish.com. All right, Vernon, what you talking about? Only thing good about the Bears is Devin. Hey, Angie. Mike, can you hear me now? Maybe if you take off that big ass sombrero, you can hear me. You still struggling, Mike? Amen, brother. Amen. Can you hear me? Any better? Well, we're having a little technical difficulties. Mike should be back in a minute. Shout out to Crown Royal, my unofficial sponsor. They don't pay me for it yet. All right, Mike, can you hear me better now?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
It's low. It's still low.
Is you on your phone or computer?
No, I'm on my iPad.
Oh.
It should be good though.
All right, cool. My mama said, "Hey."
Speak a little louder though. You can hear me though?
Yeah, I can hear you great. My mom said, "Hey, I don't know if you can see the comments.
Tell her I said hello.
Talk to her. They on. You got 22 people watching right now.
Oh, what's going on?
Hey, Mom, you got a handsome son. All right. Right. I ain't got no Nuke gear on, but I got my own. It's red and white. Oh man, let's dive into it. So yeah, we got Mike Muffy Collins. Appreciate you hopping on, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate this.
Yeah, this is a good one. For people that don't know, me and Mike go way back, like to the point where people thought me and Mike was brothers for a long time. I think we did help by making that lie keep going. Uh, we got more than enough stories to share, but some of those stories will not appear on here.
No, right?
Shout out to Cordell for tuning in, Antoine Richmond as well, Carlos Christian. We appreciate y'all. Oh man, Mike, let's get it going. Let's start from the beginning. Where you from, and then where you grow up.
Originally from Chicago. That's where all the sports side come from. And then we made our transition to Madison, of course, the South Side, which everyone is from the South Side of Madison that we grew up with, that we know.
We grew with, right? And if they didn't, they wanted to be from the South Side,
right? So from the park, Penn Park, that was pretty much that was our playground. We owned that. You count how many kids that we were all there together.
All of us.
From sun up, sun down. Now these kids don't even know what a basketball court is.
Man, they don't even know what outside is.
Yep. So that from going to, it was another court we played at too that we used to walk to. We used to walk to the zoo.
Oh, Violets Park.
We used to go down to the zoo to play.
And we would hoop over when y'all stayed on Simpson. What was the court back there?
What'd you say?
What was the court that we used to hoop at when you was on Simpson? Lake Point or whatever?
Oh, on Simpson. I forget the name of damn, what was that court called?
A lot of good runs. You just couldn't.
I don't know. It was just a bunch of bugs down there.
And you hated for that ball to go into the water. It was over with.
Killed up with the fish.
Man.
Yeah, Somerset, like Twan, that's right. Somerset, we did hoop like that. When y'all would let us play. All the folks was back there hooping.
Man.
And that's what we learned. We learned a lot from Twan, the hoop Mo, had that smooth left hand. Stink could go. He was up and down.
He
had like that what's his name? Russell Westbrook, just up and down the court, nonstop. That's how Stink played. And I just remember watching them all the time, just hoop. You know what I mean? Nonstop. Don Juan had game too.
Oh, Don Juan definitely had game.
Yeah, so that's what we seen, like, growing up in the parks, just playing nonstop.
Man, did you ever go to the park and watch, the old heads when they would play tackle football without pads on like Saturday morning, Sunday morning?
You had no choice. The first time I started was Somerset.
Okay.
That big field, and they would go out there and play, and then they take it to Penn Park when the police came.
See, that's when I started watching, when they would come up to Penn Park, and I'd just sit there in amazement because they'd be unloading on each other.
Yeah.
But wasn't no fights break out?
No, just this is barbaric. You're gonna play or go home. Which one are you gonna choose? Because you're gonna get talked about if you didn't, you know what I mean? He didn't play. John Carr could play too. That left hand.
John Carr,
even Todd was hooping too before he gained that weight.
Oh, Chaos still going.
Chaos. Before he gained the weight, he was moving. You know what I mean?
Jump, yokes, all of them get busy.
It was a different time, but it was a different respect because everyone could hoop, and it's about it's your turn. You know what I mean? How you gonna take over? And who's going to stay to play. Because you turn the ball over, you won't get back on the court.
No.
You won't get back on the court. If you missed a layup, you was not getting back on the court. You know what I mean? So it was that. There's Wayne.
Yeah, that Wayne Johnson.
What up, Wayne?
Hey, yeah. So Mike, talk a little bit about your dream career as a kid.
My first dream was to be a teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, that was to be a teacher, and I love football a lot. I hated playing, but those was close. I could play football too. You know what I mean?
you was a quarterback.
Right. So, but basketball was just easier. You know what I mean? It was just like an easy transition.
So of course I got to hit you with the question: how impactful were the Spartans and the Southside Raiders to you?
I think the Spartans. I like the Raiders organization better than the Spartans.
Okay.
It was just a difference. It was more so of it was like a generation thing. You know what I mean? It just kept going. The Spartans, it was sometimes all over the place. You know what I mean? And it was kind of easy to get in there get in there. Like when I was in 5th grade, I remember playing up with Coach Mack, with Reese and Jeff and Chop and all them. You get what I'm saying? So it kind of like took you from, if you was good, it took you from your classmates. You know what I mean?
You're talking about from football or basketball?
Talking about basketball. And football, you had to play in your class. You know what I mean?
Well, yes and no, because with basketball, I do remember I started out playing with y'all because I was a year under y'all. But I played up with y'all with when Randy was the coach back in the day, Randy Sproul. And then when it came to football, the Raiders now have a team for every age. When we was coming up, when it was 4th, 5th, 6th grade was on one team, and then 7th, 8th grade was on one team. So when we was 4th grade getting bullied and beat up on, when we got to 6th grade playing against kids our own age, we was dogging them.
Yeah, no, it's a different time, but I mean, you learn how to play. Like once you got into your,
and you wasn't afraid of nothing. You wasn't afraid of no contact. You wasn't afraid of nobody hitting you. Yeah. Like those were good times. And then talk about your Spartan experience, because I know you ended up on one of the highest ranked Spartan teams that we probably ever had.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, it was just pretty much everybody that we grew up with. We all played together, so it was easy for us to keep it going. I remember when getting Leonard to play, because Leonard was. You remember Leonard Thomas was.
Yeah, Leonard. Leonard, one of the fastest.
He was just fast, can play defense, just can do everything. You know what I mean? But his mom, sometimes she just wouldn't let. He just couldn't leave the house. Leonard was always getting in trouble. You know what I mean? So getting him to play, that was a start. And then like Andre Wilson. And I remember Porky moved over there. Baez, we'd be at the gym at the center, and then we'd be at the park. Because Sylvester and Trevor.
Now, that might be the craziest part about this story, because what did y'all end up ranked? Like, I know y'all was top 10. Was y'all like 6 maybe?
It was like 6 in the nation or something like that.
Which is also crazy because most AAU teams get players from all over whether it be all over the state, all over the country, all over the region, or whatever the case is. Y'all squad literally was a bunch of Southside kids.
Yeah.
That really went and put on for the city and put on across the country and ended up being number 6 in the country.
We wasn't scared to play against anybody. You know what I mean? We didn't care about who you were. But then again, too, you look at it, all of us playing against everybody that was older than us. That's Jamal. What's good? We was playing against people that was 3 and 4 years older than us. At the center, you had to play against everybody that was older at that time. You had no choice. You know what I mean? So then you had, and this would be every single day you will have me and Porky, Leonard, Tall D. That'd be pretty much like your best players. And you would have to play against Lou, Rose, BK. Man. So it was a battle every day, every single day, every time we look. And we were all real close to each other. You get what I'm saying? So we all brought the best at a very young age. You know what I mean? I think if Madison was more progressive at that time, you'll probably see about 4 or 5 of those guys in the NBA. You get what I'm saying? So it was a different time and structure. You know what I mean? On a balance for everything like that. But you had so many talented kids at one place. Yeah, I remember it was. You could look at it like this: the center was only one court.
One court.
That's one court. And if you was losing, you weren't playing. You know what I mean? And then you had to compete with everybody else that wasn't even playing basketball that was good too.
Man, it was people that would just come to the court just to watch to talk trash.
Yeah, that was it. Grown men, you know what I mean, and that just, talking. So I was happy like when time went on, as we just kept getting better, and then we were trying to figure out like what schools we were going to, because that was some madness too. You know what I mean? If we all would have went to the same school, which we end up, everybody going to West, I had to recruit Lou. I remember telling, because I was supposed to go to East. Remember I used your address.
Right, because I ended up going to East as a freshman, and then I had to use somebody else's address to come back to West.
I was supposed to go to East. Big Rob was like, no, you need to come to East. Lou was there, and I kept trying to convince Lou, like, come to West. Come to West. Come to West. Because I just knew that Porky, Rose, we was trying to get D over him. Reggie was still trying to figure it out. But I kind of saw that, like, we could be the best thing, like, in the state. Because we was already beating everybody, you know what I mean? And then, when BK and Lou came over, that was my sophomore year, was it? I can't remember. My sophomore year, because they were still at East. And I'll never forget, I had me and Candace in the hallway after Lou and Reese played against each other. That was my freshman year. And I was like, Lou, you got to come to the school. And Candace like, you got to come. You don't have no choice. Everybody come in here. And then, I was like, damn, I was happy about that, because you got to play against with your brothers. You know what I mean?
And the craziest thing is, people don't remember because it's so far removed that West was the powerhouse. Memorial wasn't shit. Like, no. I'm not trying to be disrespectful or nothing, but Memorial was good because they had Jerry, they had Tay, but they only let one good player rock at a time.
Yeah, I don't remember losing to Memorial until our senior year. We had a few bad plays or whatever the case it is like that, but we never lost to them. We just had all the talent was right there. Everybody from the freshman all the way to the senior class. You got to think about it. When Rose, it was a fight to get what. Once Rose got eligible, no one could stop him in the state. No one can guard him. It would be my freshman year to be me and Rose against Reese every day in practice. That was Boyce Hodge way, you know what I mean? To be very competitive. And Rose just had his way with anybody.
Oh, and Rose was unstoppable. He was unguardable. He was strong. It was
too low to the ground. He was Mateen Cleaves.
Yes, but athletic. He had bounce.
Yep. And so when you look at just all the talent that was there was nobody at those other schools. Like, even like you play against Beloit. Beloit had a bunch of athletes, and we would just destroy Beloit. No disrespect to them, but I'm just saying, like, as far as, like, they had 6'4", 6'5", everybody run, everybody jump, and we would kill them, because that's how much talent we had just growing up with each other. And then, like, the timing, like, I can get a rebound and throw the ball to Lou or whoever it is, I know exactly where they at. You know what I mean? So that was like the starting point of what we became. And then when we got introduced to the Slam League, remember that came out of nowhere.
The Slam League that was at the center, right?
Say it again.
You talking about the league that was at the center, right?
Yeah, when we did, it was both at the park and at the center.
Man, that was a different time. Like, people don't understand when you talk about like a league for basketball for Madison. It wasn't grown folks. It was kids. Like, we were all still kids, and everybody was coming from all over the city to come and watch, because you would have a team that came from the east side. You would have a team that would come from the north side, the west side, just all over the city, and everybody would come. And the center, the gym was so small, but it would be so packed. Like, I remember that one game where it was so many people in there and it was so humid, the court ended up like an ice skating rink.
Yeah, you were sliding everywhere. You sliding everywhere. Like the best memory in those 2 years that it existed, you had.
I got a couple.
Every team was stacked too. Every team
was stacked.
Every team was stacked, and it was one team you could not fuck with, and that was us.
Was you on the same team with Reese?
We lost one game in 2 years. We lost the game against Reese because Sheldon had the whistle in his mouth.
Was that the game that Reese showed up at halftime and dropped 35 in the second half?
No, Reese played the whole game.
Oh, I remember being there one game. Reese shows up at halftime playing in a lime green T-shirt and scored 35. Played just the second half.
Not against us. I love Reese to death, but not against us. No, we had Kanani, BK, Lou, and me. That was your star power, right? And we had Coach Tony, which to me was one of the best coaches that didn't get a chance to coach like on a varsity level, as a head coach,
right?
In my opinion, because it was like he had the X's and O's, but he knew how to play defense.
And he knew how to pull the best out of you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you had to hoop. It was like you're gonna.
He was gonna talk about you if you didn't hoop.
Yeah, you had to hoop, and it was just the balance was there. But everyone you had like the kids from Verona, Jamal, Greer, they had their team out.
Jason Kemp.
The Kemp and all of everyone was good. It was a good balance, but when you played, I think we were blue. You couldn't beat blue. You just couldn't beat us because it was just too much. It was too much power. You get what I'm saying?
Give me some of the highlights that you remember, because I got a couple in my mind that I was thinking about. I already said the one with Reese. The other one was when Corey Foster dunked on.
I try to forget that out of my mind because BK, that's my brother, but he got him.
Corey went up and slammed on him.
Hey man, that shit was like it stopped the gym.
Everybody stopped the play and everybody ran on the court. It was that one, and then I think DeAndre Buchanan got boomed on by Reese, and everybody had the camcorder when he caught him.
Yeah, it was some good time, but I mean that's how good everybody was.
Oh yeah, anybody could get got out there. And then you had Candace running around out there putting up 20 with ease against guys. Kanani putting up 20 with ease with all the guys. It was easy. I mean, but it was fun. It was competitive and it was fun.
Yeah, because I mean, like, if you lost or somebody gave your ass 30, you getting talked about tomorrow.
You getting talked about until the next time y'all play.
Yeah, till next time you play. It's gonna be a shit talking, excuse my language, but it was crazy like that. But everyone wanted to be the best, you know what I mean? I remember Luke getting mad one time because he was like, man, I got 39 points. I was supposed to get 40. But it was a thing that's just, everyone, it was like more like a celebration when you looked at it because everyone was happy. You know what I'm saying? It was at a point because we didn't have it. The Spartans didn't bring that to the table. It was kind of pretty much like, you're going to hoop, 8th grade, 9th grade, whatever it is. We're going to go on a few tournaments. And then that's the summer. So when that slam league, it was the whole entire summer.
I mean, I think for those 2 years, I think that we took that more serious than we took AAU.
What'd you say?
I said during that period of time, we took that more serious than we took AAU.
Oh yeah, because it was you. This was the best that you was going to play against for 2 to 3 months at a time. You know what I mean? And it was just so many. And it was people that was always trying to come at us, even older guys. You know what I mean? That just started playing on the South Side and shit like that. So we took it to heart. Like, all right, this our park. We've been here. We never went to. Are we gonna go to the East Side to play in this tournament? You get what I'm saying? Everyone came to us. Are you a 3-point like a daughter?
Oh, she asking about me. Hey, listen, my daughter is way better than I am, but that's the one thing that she ain't got over me. She quicker than me. She's more athletic than me, but the jump shot, she still got to come through daddy to get that one going.
Yes.
So, I mean, since you already been talking about it, about all the different talent that we had around, give me your top 5 favorite players that you played with in Madison That's tough too, and I know it is.
I hate these questions. I really do.
Because you're always gonna leave somebody off.
But no, I mean my top 5 probably would be let's see. Because I spent a lot of summers, back and forth in Chicago too. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I didn't get a chance to see like the generation before anything before Roy. We didn't watch anything before Roy. We just being honest, you know what I mean? Like,
we wasn't that old.
But Roy was definitely like that.
Oh, so wait, this is the first one. It's your top 5 teammates while you was growing up in Madison. We'll get to who your opinion is about
top 5.
Yeah, your teammates.
I mean, it's the Southside boys. It was Porky, Rose, Lou. I mean, it's more than 5 to me. It might be a legit.
It's always
going
to be more. Yeah.
But Reggie, Tay, I love playing with Irk. You know what I mean? Like
Radar.
That was my right. But that was my right hand man. You know what I mean? Of course, we had our exchange, whatever it is like that. But when it comes to you need a 3-pointer to go in there to win the game, you're gonna go to Tay. You know what I mean? But BK, I love BK, and that's another thing too, because I listen to some of these, some of your casts you have. No one ever mentioned BK was a lights out shooter.
And that's the piece that I think people forget because of how athletic he was. And the other thing was BK was so athletic. As I got older, I didn't realize his ass was so short. Like BK was like a 6'1" power forward and would dunk on any and everybody.
Anybody. And can pull up and knock the jumper down quick. He scored real fast. I remember the time when he came back from the suspension they gave him. Remember they was giving all them harsh suspensions to all the players in high school just for like one little mistake.
When he was at State.
And he came back, he ain't missed.
You talking about at State against Craig?
State.
Against Craig, and he went nuts.
He didn't miss.
But he scored like 15 in one quarter.
But I'm saying that's BK though. BK been doing that, you know what I mean? But no, definitely Lou. And I am biased because we all grew up together, but I'm talking about as far as like playing styles with each other, it was more than basketball for us. Like we got I remember we was in high school, and when Lou we would go to play like all these random spots, like after practice. We'd go to Monona Grove, we'd go to some place on the north side.
We go out to Oregon and everything.
All day long. And we asked Ray, can you open the center up, please? We had begged Ray to open up for 2 hours just to play. You know what I mean? Just to keep playing.
And there was so much talent around this time.
What'd you say?
It was just so much talent around this time. Like I told my daughter yesterday, I was like, as a junior in high school, I literally got in the game twice. And I was like, and I wasn't a bum. And it was just, our team was so talented as a junior in high school, I couldn't get on the court. Yeah,
it was too much. It was too much. It's one of those things, but I think that like I love Boyce because Boyce, he did some game changing stuff like in all our lives. But it was like the coaching style he had was college level. Like his
X's and O's were amazing, but as far as how he managed players to allow to get the best out of everybody, it wasn't there.
No, it wasn't that. He was pinpoint on this offense, which would have worked for, example, like say if you had, I think the best player in that offense probably would have been BK. BK would have played on the Boyce structure because you're running off screens, and BK could knock all those shots down off the screens. You know what I mean? But not like giving all the players the options. You know what I mean? Like it was times where.
Thanks, Robert.
Yeah. Rob ain't lying. Like the talent we had on that team,
and that's why I knew I couldn't get on the court as a junior. Like we should have won state.
It was too much. It was coaching, and then and we lost Leonard too. We lost Leonard because remember what happened to Larry at the time, and Leonard played great defense for us. And then once Leonard was gone, it put a lot of pressure on Robert as a freshman. You know what I mean? And we kept trying to get Dre to figure it out. Come on, Dre. Come on, man. Come on. And it was just that.
And it was so much talent, like you said. Like, I know Les Leering, rest in peace, Mr. Leering. He used to go to Boyce and was like, "Hey, Boyce, it's time. Give Jamal a shot because the way he's doing it in the varsity reserve games, we're struggling. It's time to throw a wrinkle in to switch things up." But there was just so much talent. Boyce didn't have the reason to switch it up because he was still going 9-10 deep.
Yeah, and then it was like you had to, because we knew what the structure was going to be. You knew what it was. I was there in the beginning when Boyce came out. I remember it was Reese messed his foot up, so we had to rely on Tim West, right? So the weight was on Tim. Johnny had went out, so Tim and Rose had to carry the team. You know what I mean? And I remember Tim every day in practice, like, damn. And Tim is a shooter, so Tim had to play point, shoot the ball, guard all the point guards.
Right, he was the best defender on the perimeter.
The best defender, yeah. So it was so much pressure, and I remember that. So I remember like every year to be like, okay, Reese, Lou, and then it was like, damn, here you are. You don't got no choice but to do it. But if you look at our junior year when Lou and those guys were seniors, we had more guys that averaged double figures. You know what I mean? At that time, so that's why we were more successful my junior year because it was more of a balance. You know what I mean? It was a big time balance. Mark Quinn, what's good? It was more balanced then, and then like you had Reggie was starting to come into his shell, but not consistent yet. He was coming. But Reggie just needed more time.
Reggie was the first player that I got to witness firsthand get a triple-double. We were playing at Middleton, and he had like 18 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 blocks.
Oh, yeah. Vernon not lying about Mr. Skilly. Like, I remember, I think that was my either sophomore, junior, one of the years, but they was voting for like most athletic player and all this stuff like that. He pulled me to the side and was like, we can't give you that award because of hockey. You know what I mean? Pretty much, AK, boy, you black. You ain't getting that award.
Listen, and for those that don't understand, politics run deep early.
Yeah, that West
politics
stuff, it was wild because you would have, Boyce would tell us, though, he would say, this is what's going on. You have to understand it. If you're going to be here, you got to go through all this bullshit. You know what I mean? That was from top down, you know what I mean? Now, Reggie did have big games that year. We talking about the junior year, though, Rob, when we probably needed Reggie the most a 99-2000 season because we needed his height. Everybody we played, like in Milwaukee, was 6'10", 6'8", 6'9". You know what I mean? They wasn't that talented. They just had all the height. But we needed Reggie because Reggie could bring them out the paint. You know what I mean? And stress it out. So that's what we needed from him, but I think it was just boy. And then he got the crook in his neck.
Oh, right before the game, and he was just walking around school like this.
Reggie, so y'all know Reggie had a bad night of sleep, and he had got a crook in his neck. And man, but I would love to see how that game would have played out with him just playing out there. You know what I mean? And just competing. And then we had Jay Hunt.
Jay Hunt's stupid athletic.
Yeah, he was just jump out the gym. So you look at all this stuff from like the games we played. We had the toughest schedule. I think Boyce, we had one of the toughest schedules in the country.
We always did. Anything our non-conference was comparable to anybody in the state easily. We would go down and we'd play the top two teams in Milwaukee. We'd play two teams out of Chicago. What would we play? Whitney Young and St. Mill.
And all these teams ranked in the nation. And
then it was like we had to go to camp. Top 50 players on their teams.
Yeah, we go to camp with them. Like we went to University of Wisconsin camp. All these camps. And I still keep in contact with Stan, like training and stuff like that.
Stan Gaines?
Yeah. But these are like, it was some premier basketball talent that we always was like connected to. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, Rob. Yeah. Yeah, I used to tell Rob all the time, come on, man, you the best point guard on the team. So Andre Wilson, he used to be so pissed off at me about that. It's like you choosing these. Like, it wasn't about choosing nobody. He just said he's the best.
Rob had
But it
an
was.
attitude that nobody was better than him, and he was going to go out and prove it and show you every time he stepped on the court.
But you know who one of his favorite players was that time, and that's why he had that attitude. Kobe.
Oh yeah, Rob
had that. Rob had that Kobe thing, and it was like, it was good. And even like Tari played with us too. Rest in peace. But Tari get a lot of rebounds. Remember, he'll work hard with that. So you had it. That's when boys said, we gotta play. We gotta play basketball. I think it was just time got us when it came to everything as far as that. But what I wish, if I could change anything, I would like those camps that I would go to across the country. I would have like our high school teammates go to the camps with me. If that was, you know what I mean, if something like that could take place, because it was like a team building. Because everywhere you go, you'll have the whole team will be there, building with each other, competing.
That makes sense, and that was something that me and Rob ended up doing that next summer after y'all left. Me and Rob ended up playing together and playing with a couple other guys just to keep that camaraderie going and just build some chemistry.
Yeah, it helps. It helps out
So,
a lot.
Mike, talk about the recruitment process. I think there's a lot of kids, especially in Madison right now. We've got some talent on the girls and boys side that is going through this recruitment process. And I just wanted you to talk and kind of share about how it was for you. I know things ain't necessarily the same, but at the same time, some things change, some stay the same.
Yeah, the difference was I have two athletes right now. I have my daughter volleyball, my son basketball, and they're both like they're freshmen, varsity, the whole similar experiences, but they have social media now to like everything goes viral so fast, right? And back then it was like you had to be at the right tournaments to play it. You know what I mean? Shit like that. So like I think my first college letter was 8th grade. It was like Central Florida. After the AAU tournament in Florida. So Central Florida and then like Chicago State. Some of those small schools in that region. And then we started going to more and more camps. Then it was like Marquette, Northern Illinois, Michigan. I went to Michigan camp and I won the MVP at Michigan camp. Playing against all those kids that Roe Russell will bring down there. Roe Russell, if people don't know who he is, he's like the godfather of basketball. He has 850 Division I players, Wiggins, Tristan Thompson, Corey Joseph, all those players are his. And at that time, he had like players that wasn't NBA players, but these were pros because of the workout experience that he has. So I still keep in contact with him because I want to make sure like my son has the best, across the board, whatever it is that he needs in terms of exposure. But it was like a regional thing for us. So we went to this camp, of course, like Bowling Green and all the smaller, major schools like that. And then even with the helps like Reese opened it up for a lot of schools to come in just to recruit. Lou as well too, because coach staff.
Reese said some of the cockiest stuff that I've ever heard in my life, but I was like, it's true. He was like, he recited a Jay-Z lyric to me saying something about, keys open doors. And he was like, I'm the reason that the big schools come to Madison. He said, before I was here, wasn't no big schools coming to Madison to sit in the gym to watch nobody play. And I do remember when Henry Bibby was at USC, Henry Bibby walked right past me at West. And I was like, yeah I guess that it's true. You ain't got to say it, but it's true.
No, he brought him out.
He definitely did.
He brought him out. I mean, he was a 6'6" point guard. I used to every day in practice have to guards. And I was like 5'10", 5'11". I didn't grow until like junior year. You get what I'm saying? So
you ain't grow up like 2 more inches.
Tall, so you got to stay low on him. Then he'll hold and just wait for a screen to come, and then he'll penetrate. So it'd be hard to guard that at 6'6".
And he doing that power dribble to the elbow for the jumper.
1-2. And
he pulling up at the elbow.
Right. So you got to guard that. Imagine on a different level where those guards are not as quick as him. You know what I mean? Like I remember they was having a debate in the state. He was better than Marshall and all Jose.
He was better than Jose Winston, Marshall Williams,
everybody. in my opinion, Lou was better than everybody. You get what I'm saying? But it was where we live. We lived in this town where we didn't play for playground. We played for spars that didn't understand vision. They didn't get it from that perspective. They just like, oh, we good local. We was like, okay, but we can beat everybody else. We proven that we can kind of get us out there. So that's when you start to see Hensies come in, you know what I mean, and help out in other players. Tracy Webster, even how more these guys will help us out in the process with these making certain phone calls. I remember Hensey would make tons of phone calls for a lot of players. He was the second wave of getting those college coaches to Madison. You know what I mean? After Reese opened it up, and then Lou kind of continued, Lou and BK. So when you look at it, it was a lot of help for me.
And that's the other thing I wanted to touch on. Like, with that being said, like, who are some of the influential people in your life growing up that just helped along the ways? I know you said James Stafford, Tracy Webster. Who are some other people that you felt like were real influential and helped you a lot?
I would give a lot of credit, like, to my grandfather, rest his soul. I would give Carrie, that was my high school girlfriend. I would give Carrie a lot of credit because Carrie, we studied for my ACT test. She took me to Barnes and Noble. It was so much stuff that I can be like that. She helped me out. She read them college letters. I wasn't even reading it. I was like, man, is there any money in there? Like that. But she would do all that little stuff. That's what Carrie would do to like help me out with certain things like that.
Rest in peace to Carrie.
Coach Tony, rest in peace. A very powerful person. But I would say even from the fan perspective too. We had I would say Lou, BK, Pierce, because they like how Rob, like I had to embrace all the underclassmen to make sure, like, no, we're going to continue something that we started, keep this thing going. They did the same thing with me. You know what I mean? Like, just little stuff. You know what I mean? Like, everyone knew I was so into, like, shoes and all that stuff like that. Lou would take me around and get, like, certain Kobe's, certain Jordan stuff that I would love. So I looked at it more so like, man, these are my real brothers. And then I give a lot of credit to Candace's dad, Mike. When we got to Madison, I would play basketball with Mike all the time. Candace's father was unbelievable. He gave me, I have a trophy. I told Candace I'd give it to her one day, but her dad gave me a block party trophy. That's when the block party was real. Like, I'm not saying that it was, but I'm just saying, like, it was
the original block party.
Yeah, it was a real thing where they was out there hooping. I'm talking about dunking near free throw line. It was a different era of basketball. That was real 90s basketball. It was like you was watching Knicks versus Bulls out there. You know what I mean? So him, and then, when he passed on, it was kind of like just my cadence was going to the park every day. So that was a major influence, for me, as far as Madison. And I can't leave out boys, because boys helped us out a lot. Boys taught a lot of discipline. I didn't turn the ball over my freshman year in college because of boys. Because
we ran so much. Man, we ran so much. Man, I remember playing basketball in college, and they were talking about how, how much conditioning, how much running we were going to do. When I got to college and we did all that running, and they were like, all right, we done for the day. I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
I had gotten so conditioned at how much we ran that once we finished in college, I was like, that was it. Oh, cool. I'm good.
Yeah. He put us on a different level, like, as far as thought process. Remember, we had the packets. We had the packets that he would, like, literally give us. You know what I mean? To learn.
I mean, and he's the I want to say he's probably the reason that the Big 8 dresses up for games, because remember we had to wear the suit coats.
We had to dress, and kids don't understand. I was telling my son, like, before a game, we had the blazers.
We had to dress up to go to games.
He wasn't playing that shit. It was like respect. Even, like, I don't know if you remember times where if it was teams that disrespected us, we would walk off, we want to shake their hands. It was like, he was there because I remember when Coach Collins, that's the coach of Moyer, right?
Yep.
I remember they would move the tape so Boyce wouldn't have a longer box. These coaches would do this to Boyce on purpose. You know what I mean? And it bothered him, because Boyce was a very, very emotional person. You know what I mean? Like he was, but I get it though. Like he really loved us, but it was kind of like that dad you don't have. You know what I mean? It was just the respect, it was the craft, and it was like, nah, I'm raising men.
He was teaching us the stuff that he knew we wasn't getting at home.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't know if you remember, Rob probably remember, but we went to one of those small towns.
I remember it because it was Oshkosh.
And
I'll
Leonard,
never forget it.
Where's Leonard? Leonard, he the life of the party. And I'm asleep.
You wasn't asleep.
This is real. I'm not.
You wasn't asleep because I got caught up in it trying to help y'all out.
And I wake up in the morning, and then Leonard and Peter just laughing. Oshkosh, they just laughing and shit. So then Coach Charles like, "Is something you want to tell me?" And I'm just confused about what's going on. Like, I have no idea. He was like, "Nah, everybody getting in trouble." Everybody getting in trouble. Nobody started.
I got benched and I wasn't even in the room because I tried to come help y'all. But that's the brotherhood we kind of had. Like, I ended up getting in trouble for it, and I wasn't even a part of it.
So then it was like after that, he told on that Monday, he was like, "You know what? I'll do that shit again. Y'all get in trouble again." And like Robin, everybody got suspended. But it was like, you got that message though. Like, why y'all got girls in the room? If something happened, you know what I mean?
If somebody's case happened,
whatever the case
y'all
is,
going down and didn't even
somebody
do
getting in trouble.
Yep.
So it was so much respect for that. Just hearing him in the thought, even the one-on-one conversation he had with everyone, he was making sure like you get the message. You know what I mean? Like, no, okay, you might. I remember from the ball boy to Mika. Remember the trainers, anybody it was, everybody was gonna get their ass in trouble about one mistake.
Oh man. Oh my God, I remember Lewis in the back getting lotion down on the bus.
See, Marty, you remember?
Hey, all right, so kind of transitioning because I know I had Marquise Mason on and he talked about legacy and how much it meant to him. Marquise Mason. And he talked about just the legacy and how much it meant to him. So I kind of wanted to talk to you and get your thought process on legacy and what it means to you and what you wanted to share about your legacy.
Man, it's important that you continue something good. You know what I mean? Like, if you like we always say, if you knew better, you would do better, right? So it's our job. It's we really have Coach. That could be true because Coach House was just like Coach Carter, but we have to continue this thing that we built, right? So you can't lose train of thought, like in the importance of like getting people educated, getting people in school, learning the business behind it, learning the all the metrics. Like I tell my kids, like, this is a big business. This is a $1 trillion business. Like, if you don't make any money from this, it's not going to work. And these are things that we missed out on. Like, there's no reason why we don't have like a referee union. Like Johnny Winston was probably one of the best refs we had. This example, right? But yeah, Johnny wasn't bad. It was some games he count, but I'm just saying in general.
I love Johnny. I love Rainey. I love Ralph. But man, I swear to God, they hated West.
But he it was when he was reffing the games, he would teach you, don't do that shit no more. You hand check it. You know what I mean? Like, stop doing it. It was all, but we learned a lot in the process of, this ref gonna call that on you. So, but he didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? Because that's, that could be a good old boy thing, whatever the case it is. But when it comes to like passing it down from just love, respect, embracing the younger generation, you know what I mean? Like teaching them the stuff that we didn't learn, you know what I mean? Those things, it stands out because you look on TV, what's the school in Washington that produced Jamal Crawford, A.B. Bradley,
Isaiah Thomas,
I forget what's left, Isaiah Thomas. They have a high school that put out player every single year. That's a legacy that they have. So when I look at this is how West should be. Memorial, all these schools that in this region that have all the South Side players. You get what I'm saying? And I agree, like Boyce, he did love us so much, but I think what happened, it was too much other stuff involved that you had to deal with. You know, you had to deal with parents. Remember, and this is just true. Some of those white kids, we had to deal with their parents all the time. Like the Coopers, you know what I mean? They was cool, but we got their ass sent up out of there. You get what I'm saying? The older one who's coaching in the league right now. So when you look at that, was he better than BK? Was he better than me? Was he better than? No, hell no. But it was kind of like Vernon was saying, you got Skilly that's friends with all these people that are controlling the booster club and all this other shit, and they will block out our black parents from even like just doing little things that to take care of our kids, to make it seem like our parents wasn't present in our lives. You see what I'm saying? So we had to break that up and to let them know. And that's one thing that Boyce, he did fight for. I'm continuing some, even Mr. Holmes. Little things that Mr. Holmes did. Gus Doyle came around a few times to help us out. But if that support was consistent across the board, you will have so many kids continue this legacy on, and you wouldn't have a problem with, kids going to school trying to find a school, or we making phone calls for them. This should be an automatic thing. So like what you're doing is so important to get the kids exposure, over here, and then you will have my help in Chicago, because now I have the biggest preseason high school tournament in the country now. You get what I'm saying? So with those little things, and it's like I want West to be a part of it because that's my school. You know what I mean? And I know what it can do, provide the exposure for all the kids that come across, where every time you look up, like I talk to Chop all the time, like what East is good right now, La Folla, all these schools that wasn't into it's called pay-to-play parents. Yeah, man, it was like, we shouldn't have to deal with that. You got all these kids that are so talented, so good, you know what I mean? That in the Tuesday reports, which and this is what I will say about the Tuesday reports. They played my man Rose. They played Rose. And I was mad about that through high school, because Rose, he had one altercation with a teacher, and Rose actually right about it. He was just saying, if you telling me I failed on something, help me out. Help me. You know what I mean? The spaghetti Dex ain't lying. So Rose, I remember we were in a study period in the cafeteria. He was like, here's my Tuesday report, but my homework is not due until Wednesday. That's a whole game changer when it comes to terms of grades. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And that, when Rose got that grade, he couldn't play. That shit broke his heart. You get what I'm saying? So you're breaking kids down at a young age that want to do something.
It's like
this is our opportunity to find a way to get out the neighborhood. You know what I mean? The
Tuesday report, I think, was like a gift and a curse. It was like, it was good because it kind of held kids accountable and kept them on top of things. But at the same time, like you said, Tuesday report got to be turned in by Tuesday. Rose got an assignment that's due Wednesday. He ain't turned it in yet because he turning it in Wednesday. But the teacher marking him down because he ain't turned it in. Now it destroyed him and what he was doing. And it kind of just crumbled after that.
Yeah. And you've seen it time and time again. Like, I remember one freshman, Reese. They did that shit to Reese one time. This before he hurt his foot. I remember this. So it's like, why are you trying to break down all these athletes, black athletes, and then you have all these hockey players that wasn't going to class, baseball players wasn't going to class. You get what I'm saying? Like, we seen it, and they could be outside smoking squares and shit in the vans, kicking it, skipping all the classes, and they get celebrated the mobile. We knew it was about race and things like that, but we didn't have enough of that. So I think we got to break that up if it's still going on in certain regions, certain areas, to like more so amplify the kids' voices so they can be heard too.
Yeah. So I want you to transition, because I know you talked about it a little bit as far as like you got the poppin' preseason tournament and you're trying to get some of the Madison schools involved. But just talk about more just as a whole what you're doing now for a living, and expand into, the prostate awareness stuff that you do as well.
Yeah. So it's, what is it? This is 2000. What is this? 2022 now. And
Yep.
time is going by. About like 11 years ago.
Dexter on one today.
But I started the Prostate Cancer Foundation because there was too many black men I knew with prostate health issues or cancer, and no one was going to the doctor. You know what I mean? No one was having a conversation. And then I started looking at the numbers across the country. I was like, oh shit, this is everywhere in the black community. Houston, Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta, all the black hotspots, Brooklyn, Queens, Compton. These numbers are so high. So it's like diet, exercise. It is from the stress, because stress open up your cancer cells. So these are all things we deal with in Black America, right? So I said, I got to do something about this. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to figure it out. So I just started planning. And I was talking to my uncle at his restaurant. And, right here on 63rd and Vernon, right off 63rd King Drive in Chicago. So, which is one of the worst places in the country. So I was able to get a lot of men out, like, man, let's come sit down and let's talk about something that's serious. Some of these guys are still around. Some guys lost weight. Some guys are just more healthy mentally as well, too. You know what I mean? So something that can change, where a conversation, I can like, hey, let me talk to Jamal about this. Hey, don't do this, don't do that, do this. And you spread the word around. You know what I mean? So we've been just sticking with it. And I said, let me add everything that I've done. Let me add basketball, working out, all this shit. Get the high school kids involved, teach them about it, because prostate cancer is getting younger and younger and younger, right? So you would think, like, what are they doing to us that is getting younger? It's messing up our reproductive system, all of this stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's real. In the gym class, he ain't lying about that. But so all this stuff that takes place going on in the education and awareness wasn't there, right? So like if you go to a prostate health clinic, you got to go to the suburbs. Like the average black man can't take the bus, the train to go there. So we started to do these pockets where guys can go get their PSA levels examined and things like that, to put us at a better place for education. So we've grown. We have Houston. Jamal Gray working on Atlanta for this year, Chicago, obviously, but we create this basketball tournament where we're getting all the best high schools in the city out. And it's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. It's becoming this thing where we have to go back into Park High School, the gym, because now we got 16 teams coming. So teams from Gary, Simeon will be playing this year. So whatever Simeon does, Winnie Young does. Kenwood they won a tournament this year. They had a lottery pick on their team. You know what I mean? So like the eyes are on this tournament. It's preseason, but now we just bringing the exposure piece to it as well too, for the youth. And then we do the men game. Lou, Reggie play every year. We try to get Roy out. Roy's gonna probably play this year, but it's very competitive. You know what I mean? It's a game where it's like nonstop. Like both of my cousins play in the game, so they're doing work. Like Sharon is, still in Kansas, helping our recruiting process. So he's gonna open a door up for a bunch of kids to go to camp down there with his name and things like that. So we all kind of like working this thing together, and we had these training processes that take place too, this whole year. So just getting everybody involved, getting you all involved in Madison. Well, I want to bring this there because I think the city needs it for everybody in general, but as far as the basketball aspect too.
Of course. Wanted to touch on kind of just something for the younger folks that dream, that got dreams and want to do stuff. What would you kind of let them know? What's some advice that you would give to a young person that got dreams?
I would say never give up on anything. Like if you're plan it out, you know what I mean? Because like it happened to me, like basketball, I use that was like my tool. Like I could hoop, I went to school for it, everything. I wouldn't trade the experience, but like the connections I made from it, the people I still communicate with, it helps so many other people out. So make sure like your dream, it has everyone involved. You know what I mean? So sometimes we do selfish things and like you want like, damn, it didn't work because you have an agenda for yourself. God don't he doesn't work like that. You know, everything is for the next person. You know what I mean? So I would say focus, plan it out. It might not work. You might have to rewrite. You might have to make more phone calls, send more emails out, whatever it is to make it come true. Because now you set something up for the next generation. Like me, you could become a billionaire 10 years from now, while we did or whatever it is. We're not longer here, but now we created something for the next generation to come. And I think this what happens in two different worlds. We play catch up ball in the black community, right? We try so hard just to, we made it, but we didn't make it if it's only you. You know what I mean? So if I can't bring my brothers and sisters to the table, we ain't did shit. So that's like with the dreams. Make sure that you got all your peers, involved. You're on the same level with everything. Like we have with the foundation this year, for example, I've been trying to get a music fest for the past 5 years just for the Chicago event. I just got approved 3 months ago for a music fest. I never gave up. I know it's going to open up doors for everybody. You get what I'm saying? To do that thing.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to have a community segment where you can promote HBCU sports exposure. You can promote this, you can promote that. It's so many eyes. So as long as you're being true to your family, you're respecting everyone, involved, and you're just living with guidance, you know what I mean? Not all over the place, just remain focused. So that'd be my advice to the youth. Even with my children, I tell them all the time, like, y'all have way more exposure than we have. Y'all got a chance to make money in your sleep, like now in school, you know what I mean? Like my daughter, I tell her, she's great at volleyball. All these schools recruiting her. I said, man, that shit is cool. That's perfect. But what are you gonna do to set apart? Because you in a white sport, it may be like 100 of y'all out of 10,000. What are you gonna do to separate yourself? To bring more of your sister look just like you that probably can jump as high. That's probably 6'2", that don't want to hoop, but they might want to play volleyball. Like, things like that. What are we doing to challenge the youth? Because they get on their phone and everything is social media. You know what I mean? And that shit is not reality. We didn't have it growing up.
At all.
We didn't have it. So I would say just stick to that plan.
So because we're both fathers, I got one last question I want to end with. What do you enjoy most about being a father?
Just happy just seeing someone look just like you, if that make any sense. Like, you grew up, you always talk about how you want to have kids and you want to have a family and things like that. And I think that it's a beautiful thing just to see, like, that's a part of your legacy that's going to continue, that's going to do something that's greater than you, that's going to, like, just continue to try to make you happy, because that's what we do as kids. We still want to make our parents happy to this day. You know what I mean? Like, our mothers, they work so hard to see you do something.
And our mothers are still friends.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I was telling them, I said, if we had your opportunity, our parents would be living in mansions.
Man, the stuff that we know now, we can go back and do it at their age.
So,
which is the other crazy thing. Which is the other crazy thing when you think about it. Like, we all were so close. I'll never forget. My mom was like, "Yeah, you and Michael got a conversation y'all need to have." I was like, "What you talking about?" She was like, "Y'all got a lot more in common than you think." I was like, "What are you talking about?" And it took me to call you to find out. And she was like, "And you need to call Reggie too." Our kids are born 1 month after the other. Savannah's in October, Ari's in November, and then your twins are in December, right?
Yeah,
they all back to back.
Yeah. So it's like, when you think about it, they may be in conversation of just like putting something together. You know what I mean? Like, you hear these stories sometimes with these kids, especially like in Hollywood. If you all grew up in the same neighborhood, of course, everyone's going to know each other, and the world is small, right? But it's just about like just making sure that they're doing everything right. You know what I'm saying? Like, not making the mistakes because everything is coming faster for them. You know, it's instant. Everything is instant. The video is uploaded instant. You get to travel somewhere in a heartbeat. I mean, these kids have everything, right? And then sometimes it kind of hurts them too, because sometimes it's just too much. It's too much at a young age, and then there's so much pressure on them. You remember, like, when boys, what kind of shield you from all the college coaches? From, I don't want too much
bro, we
conversation, and you don't need to know. Yeah,
I ain't you. I didn't get all that. I got a little taste, but I ain't get that taste.
Yeah, but it was, you saw what he was doing. He was protecting.
Right.
He was protecting you from the vultures, so to speak, because it pulls you all these other places, so you can lose the fundamentals
and lose the focus of what's important.
What you say?
And saying you can lose the focus on what's important. I said you can lose the focus on what's important.
Oh, easy. Oh yeah, easy. So it is like, even like my son, I think sometimes he's too hard on himself, I think. And it's like, again, I never pressured my kids with sports, anything. It's kind of like, if this is what you want to do. It took me time to, like, hey son, I was good at basketball, or here's my accolades, or it took me a long time to even, like, kind of show that stuff, because it was kind of like, you want your kids to do their own thing, to kind of like grow in that shell. And then once they find out, you know, talking to different people, or you really can play. Like, yeah, I could still can play a little bit. You know what I mean? But
hey man, old age, Father Time is undefeated. Father Time is undefeated.
But it is. I think that's the most important thing. It's about just guiding our kids, and then respect too. Like, that word, it kind of went out the window.
I think Mike's device died, but I think that was a perfect time.
It had went out for a second.
Yeah, yep, you good. Go ahead.
But the respect thing, like, you can go to some tournaments, and kids don't respect the coaches. They don't respect the parents. You know what I mean? It's kind of, it's like what happened with that generation. You know what I mean? Like, your parents paid for you to get here. You know what I mean? You ain't paying no bills and you talking all this shit. You see, man, you see this. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, again, you need the Boyce Hodges to be somebody else.
Right, that'll hold you accountable when your parents ain't quite able to reach you at that moment. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
So, yeah, when you look at that, but other than that, man, I think it's super important that we do our part in just the right communication. I say right communication.
And with that being said, I want to appreciate you coming, you know, sliding up on me and tapping in and speaking your truth and sharing your side of things. So yeah, man, it's always been love, always will be. I appreciate you from back then to today. So much respect, and I appreciate everybody that tuned in and listened and watched and hopefully gained something from it.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, we got a lot of work to do still. There's still a bunch of stuff that we have to do. And then we communicate about, you know, bringing a tournament there, even bringing teams down too. You know, even the expose we have, like, we'll be doing some stuff with the Obama Foundation. You know what I mean? Like, years to come, because it's directly across the street on where we have the basketball tournament. So I kind of want our kids to, like, have that experience. You know what I mean? And just learn, you know, so to speak.
Well, you know,
so I know Boosie was on earlier. Tell him, Wes, get Wes. Tell them what it means to us. You know what I mean? Because we need it. But if we have to do something for all the schools there, we can do that too. You know, we make it work.
Love. That's all love. So, man, Mike, hang on for a second. I'm gonna end this, and I appreciate everybody that tapped in.
Appreciate you all. Thank you.